it like you're in a thriller. Heart goes pound, pound, pound. Ghostly figures, they can get so bitter. Show you want to enter, you can turn back now. You don't know where I've been. What's going on inside? Where the monsters like to come alive, come alive. Do you really wanna know me? I'm really not that cozy. It's up to you, so you decide, you decide. Would you love me at my worst till the coffin's in the dirt? Try to break me like a curse, you know that will never work. I'm a little bit absurd, I like dancing on the verge. Anyone can love a pretty little mansion, but could you love a haunted, haunted house? Or could you love me now? A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. A haunted, haunted house. If you're too scared, get out. A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. Broken windows and a warning scribbled on my wall saying that you better turn around. Wouldn't be the first to try to burn me down. Your move, you too. Would you love me at my worst till the coffin's in the dirt? Try to break me like a curse, you know that will never work. I'm a little bit absurd, I like dancing on the verge. Anyone can love a pretty little mansion, but could you love a haunted, haunted house? Or could you love me now? A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. A haunted, haunted house. If you're too scared, get out. A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. Could you love a haunted, haunted house? Or could you love me now? A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. A haunted, haunted house. If you're just thinking sad. A haunted, haunted, I'm a haunted house. Words till the coffin's in the dirt. Anyone can love a pretty little mansion.
Happy Halloween, y'all. Can you believe it? Here we are. It's spooky time. Welcome in, gatekeepers. How y'all doing? I know you're smiling. I can feel it. You know, that's the best part about those intros. I'll watch them, and even if I made one a long time ago and pull it up from, blast from the past, I'll look at it and I'll think about, man, I remember what I was thinking when I did put it together, and how cool the music just falls with some of those gifts, and like some of her footsteps in that Bryan Bolger song, and how creative people are and how cool people can be when they really kick in. These last 3 weeks have really told us what people can do when they want to. And I know all you light workers are being really drained, no matter where you are, what your vantage point is right now. Everything is just sucking energy out of you. So let's try to put some of that back and just reach out and kind of help each other keep our lights on, and kind of blow on each other's flame a little bit to get it going. Light the sage, kick the tires, light the fires, light the candles by all means. Say the prayers, send out the energy, lift each other up, and do the best you can. Because I'm telling you what, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm emotionally drained beyond belief. I will be dead honest. I mean, if you're an empath right now, It's like half the world's on fire and the other half's drowning. So somewhere in the middle, you're trying to keep your head above the line, and so what we're going to do is we're just going to try to lift each other up above that line tonight and look at some crazy stuff because I think what's coming next is aliens, folks. I mean, you know, dinosaurs maybe. I don't know. So I brought on a friend of mine who digs into these things, and he's seen some crazy stuff, and it's very much him and I and Steve. I know that's terrible grammar, but listen, good luck changing me at this point. Don't waste your time. Just have a good time and just let her rip, okay? So anyway, Steve and Bryan, some of my other friends, we just kind of get together, and we're very much like that meme if you've seen on social media or wherever you get your memes. Um, and it's Alice and it's Dorothy, and they're sitting on a bench. And who, but one of them says to the other, I've seen some crazy shit. And the other one says, girl, I know what you mean, you know, right there with you. And these are my friends. And I know a lot of you fit into that category too. So this is tonight, we're going to talk about UFOs and, maybe a little MIB, a little Men in Black, maybe a little bit of who knows. But when I have a question like this, I reach out to certain people, and he's my Alice. He's my Alice in Wonderland. He's my UFO dogman guy. He's my brother, and he's also a fantastic and highly um, skilled in a lot of his abilities, and definitely on my one of my first calls on my paranormal chain of help. So, without further ado, Mr. Bryan Bowden, and if I could figure out which button to push to get you in here, sweetheart, you're hiding in. There you go. Are you ready? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, there we go. For me to get in here. Hi, sweetie.
Hey, what's up? I mean, yeah,
There,
we have
now I
seen a
hear you.
lot of yeah, I got a sense of
Just pull the freaking train over. We're not going to make it. This is just YouTube. Just go easy. Go
you
easy, my
you want
friends.
Steve
Listen, it's
Jobs?
been a hard, couple weeks on us all, and we're not even going to try. We were talking till the wee hours last night on the phone, and just you know.
Oh yeah,
So look, we're pulling this one. We're going to be honest up front. I'm pulling this
you very
this
well.
one just right out of the dark closet, and I had to lean into Bryan and go, look, UFOs. I want something we talk about, but at the same time, we got to lift. You know what I mean? We're all light workers here.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of stuff. I brought Bryan on some stuff. Maybe you guys have things going on that you're getting. I don't know whether you want to say downloads or you find yourself involved in something where your skills are really kicking in. And, maybe it's a trade, maybe it's an ability, maybe it's a combination. It's going on all over with light workers. And it's really a draining time for us right now. So we just got to keep tapping in and touch grass, right, Bry?
Oh yeah. I mean, I
You
wore
know,
the
tap into each other.
1776 shirt in honor of what you just did, which is a great show. Yeah, you know
Thank
what?
you. Liberty. It was boot camp, baby.
Oh
They
yeah.
know. They knew.
Oh, I
They knew.
know.
Hey Scott, how you doing? We're gonna stop and say hi to everybody, but
Sure. What's up,
welcome in,
Suzette?
my friend. Thanks for coming in last minute, and we're just gonna have a good time.
Yeah. I mean, you
And I
know,
love the hat.
thank you. It gets to the point right now where I was asked like a couple of nights ago, like, what scares you? And besides hearing a doctor go, "It's a girl," one of those, whatever. There's not much. There's not much anymore. I mean, like I've seen some stuff, and I'm like, okay, just
Um,
bring it on.
dude,
Yeah,
dude, it's off the chain. It's off the chain. Look,
yeah.
Bryan, it's so many. I can't say anything about this. It's truly not our story, but I'm talking about things on the level of listen. Oh, Froze, hello, darling. Good to see you. Good to see you all. We'll say hi in just a second. I think we're still going from yesterday, as far as energy wise. Everybody's just popping right now, seriously.
This whole month has been on fire.
We have got, think about, and God, my heart breaks. Listen, guys, if you don't know, I've been involved since the storm, and we've been doing a little here, a little there, trying to keep the story in. Listen, we got to keep it in the limelight. It's up to all of us. If all you can do is keep sharing things on your social media, get the truth out, be subtle if you have to, do whatever you got to do, but keep this story alive. Don't let them, don't you let them.
Don't let them bury it.
Don't you let them, because we cannot forget our Americans out there. Listen, this stuff is going to be going all over, and it's like Monday, it's a big story. By Wednesday afternoon, everybody's on to the next thing and doesn't even remember what just happened. No. We got to keep a grip on it.
It's Tennessee, North Carolina, some of Georgia now, right? But it very well could be you in Illinois or Montana or whatever.
It is. And Wyoming's on fire.
That's because there's been
Brian. Tell him, Brian.
I'm gonna shut up.
I had to call Bryan yesterday and say my head is coming off.
Yeah,
my head is literally coming off.
They don't.
And I need you to.
Yeah, you got to get a reset, or just like someone you can really just say, hey, you can breathe with, because it can really hurt you emotionally. You can
get to hearing it. And I'm just trying so hard, even if it's just connecting people to spots, to keep out information, to real stories, real time, real truth, because there's a lot. Look. They're throwing, you got to say it quiet so nobody hears. They're throwing fucking hurricanes at us. Do you understand me?
Snow.
They're throwing fucking hurricanes. So,
yeah,
this is it, folks. This is what we're born for. This is Joan of Arc time. This is, no BS, front and center, lights out, lights on. I don't mean out like that. I mean front and center. You know what I mean? Lights out front, not out. They got to stay on. But we get dim. It's like you just kind of,
This is, mead for everyone, fresh horses. I mean, we're ready to roll at this point.
Yeah.
Because you got nothing to lose if they don't give a damn about you, or
all for one for all. And you see, every time, Bryan, I tell people, all through #Liberty, our summer event, the whole thing, the whole inner story, the interwoven story, no matter what side really you talk about, but genuinely for people fighting for what they feel is correct, which again, both sides. But our story on this side, anyway, from the people on boots on the ground, it's always boots on the ground, the people that's in it, that's where the true character lies, good or bad, because it brings out both, what side are you on, and it's just you just got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep moving. You got next thing. Traumatic story. What can we do to help? What can we, make a difference? Small groups of people making all the difference in the world, and that's the only thing that's ever going to, the thing.
Yep.
Never doubt that a small group of dedicated and devoted individuals can change the world. Do you know why? It's the only thing it ever has.
Yeah.
And we're watching it. We're watching good people, ordinary people do extraordinary things. And, you know what I mean?
It was 3%. 3%.
Yeah.
And like a lot of these guys, I think Ventura, before he went off he said, all I need is 3 guys, 2 to 3 people. And they can take over a whole area.
Just sucked it right out. I listen, who knows, so maybe there's a light beam or something. They could just,
they have a lot of interesting things that they've been,
laser lobotomy or some shit. But you can almost watch some people just like And it's the people that are going, you can't get me. I live in a bunker, and I'm like, I'm in the Baja,
Yeah.
and you can't get me. And then the next time you see him, it's like
You
Crypt
know,
Keeper or something, and lost his mind and completely
you know
180.
Havana syndrome.
Oh, dude, I
They
know.
can use
Listen to me. The
microwaves
total
to
tonnage of the
penetrate all
shit,
that.
the stuff that I know that I
Yeah, yeah,
cannot
no,
talk
no.
about.
I
Is
wanna be
would
very
stagger a
careful.
team of oxen.
Be very careful how I'm proceeding. But
I'm a mess. I'm a
yeah,
mess, and it's crazy. It's so
yeah,
crazy. I still have. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I got it.
that's good.
Oh, moving forward. What are we
Yeah,
talking about tonight? Aliens, of course.
aliens.
That's the
What
next thing.
I'll tell you what, I'd already queued all this stuff up anyhow, so I think it'd be
Okay.
great.
Well, yours comes after. I have to do the before.
No, 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 that's fine. We'll do that stuff, but I'm just letting you know that
We don't know what we're
I
doing.
prefer to I investigate it all, and I have footage from other people,
See
but I prefer
beyond his head.
my footage.
Beyond his head. There is a. Is this a banner? Or is it a poster?
It's a
Is it
banner.
material or is it paper? Is it
It's actually a
vinyl?
vinyl banner for the New York State UFO project, which
There.
I
See,
funded and
I know who
direct.
to call. I know who to call.
I have a Bigfoot project and a Dogman
If
project.
you can wrangle up there, people up there in the city, I mean, that's not, you just got to look at it from a Jersey girl point of view. I'm thinking I think I'd probably hang out and land between the lakes with the dogmen than to hang out in Brooklyn right now.
Well,
Just saying. I think
you're the Jersey girl that's here, I have footage I took at my aunt's house in Shark River Hills.
my backyard.
Yep. So I'm gonna show it. It's
It's,
my footage, and
we'll,
we'll discuss it later. But
we'll do.
in
We'll
case,
do. But right now, we just wanted to be upfront and just say, look, our train's still on the track, but the caboose might be limping a little bit. You know what I mean?
all that rum in there.
I'm just gonna hang out in the bar car. I've been on this train a long time. Sometimes I'm up front, sometimes I'm hanging out the back, just sometimes I'm pulling a rose like off the front of the engine, just like let's ride.
Yeah,
And then
that's good.
sometimes I have to just be in the sleeper car for a little bit. That's not happened yet. I'm just need to hang out in the bar car for a while, have some funny honey, and just
Funny honey.
chill tonight and try to learn about aliens. Because look, I'm fascinated. I do this with Steve all the time. I do. Fascinated to look back and go, what did we have then? What was the evidence we were talking about? What was the buzz? What were we talking about in school on Monday morning after they showed it on the weekend? Little sightings, little unsolved mysteries, a little Nimoy, Star Trek.
Start
Some of us weren't up into
Buck
that
Rogers.
MIT engineer level of the Star Trek where we had arguments around the water cooler of, whether or not the transponder would work on the whatever the heck. My brother used to have conversations like that at the dinner table. They would
Really?
have arguments, the brothers, about whether or not stuff in Star Trek would work. And,
Right.
I can remember that in the 70s. They didn't do a whole lot of paranormal talk. There wasn't a whole lot of that, but you got a little bit of alien, a
Yeah, oh,
little bit
there was a
of
lot
that
more alien
futuristic,
into it. Yeah,
you
because
know.
it was sellable. Actually, there was a lot that was more sellable back then.
Mhm. You had your Doctor Who, which was getting more popular here in America. I believe it started again in Britain. Was it not at a crossover? But we actually got the British version, didn't we? Instead of this, where they'll start it in Britain and then we'll do the American version, like Ghosts and all these
Right.
other shows, Office. That's just show us the thing.
Right.
I don't know,
Sure.
but it seems like back in the day they used to do it that way. So if they did have something UFO sightings, we might see it coming out of Britain back then in the 70s and especially into the 80s, I would say.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't really paying attention then. It's when I was in the army. So, but during high school, I can remember, hey, did you see Planet of the Apes? Hey, did you see, Soylent Green? Hey, did you see, all these like different,
Horror film.
alien movies and stuff like that. I'm trying to remember
Yeah.
the alien movies that were out back then. War of the Worlds, of course, since then, retold, and
War of the
all
Worlds
the
is
the
huge.
body snatchers, that kind of
Um,
stuff.
yeah,
Twilight Zone had some of it.
Twilight Zone definitely had some of it.
Do you
Twilight Zone
remember the
was
lady?
really The Outer Limits as well.
Yes, yes, yes. And do you
So,
remember the lady that was in a cabin or whatever? Chat, do you remember this Twilight Zone where she was the big lady and she had the little squeaky, outside, there was something trying to get in the cabin and she's with a broom, and finally this little guy gets in, doesn't he? Like
yeah,
marches across this little alien dude, and something happens, it flip-flops. She's the alien. That I believe that's how that Twilight Zone flipped at the end. She was actually the alien. We were the good guys that were coming in, and they were reporting it back, like, Houston, we have a problem. That kind of thing. It was like, oh no, she's the alien. That it was crazy. At first, the whole time it's all about this one woman show of the terror she's feeling about this thing coming in, and it turns out to be us. Which,
yeah,
again, looking back, how apropos is that in the
yep,
60s, Serling is telling us, hey, you know
yeah. But I think
funny.
out of all of it,
I didn't say that.
in the
Allegedly.
70s, in the 70s, 70s, early 80s, it really the UFO phenomena took off because there was something you may know. Um,
Hello. Yeah.
you know, you may know what the phenomenon is, and I'm gonna see if I can play it for you.
What are you going to play? It's Outer Limits.
Just listen. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. That's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm gonna show
Now,
it to you now.
what was the first big, um 70s. I want to say in the 70s. What was the first big movie that really took us? When did Close Encounters come out? That was like
Ni
78?
1977 was,
Okay.
and
That was it then.
that was it.
It was it. It was it.
That was it. And,
Yeah.
that
Richard Dreyfuss with the mashed potatoes.
yep, that was great.
See, and how spot on though is that, go starting right out with the telepathic, almost the pushing on the windshield of them trying to get in and manipulate and make contact with us, through our minds, telepathically, and
But
you know
it's again, you know, I say to this date, there's so many people, and I don't know what the chat feels about it. They all want disclosure, disclosure, disclosure. Disclosure happened in 1977 with the global release of Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
yeah. Yeah.
The reason for
Yep.
it
I like that. Yep.
in that movie, I mean, in that movie, they
Hey,
basically
sweetheart.
told you,
Good
you
to
know,
see you, baby. I'm
there
listening, honey. Go ahead.
was a guy that came forward in that movie towards the end. If you haven't seen it, go see it. And the man that came forward was Dr. Hynek, who was in charge of Project Blue Book.
Yep.
That was another show.
I
Project
think
Blue.
I have a little piece of something about that. I believe I do. But
I
continue on. You're just. I'm getting a recall of some of the clips that I have
okay.
here.
Hold on. Can
I
I?
know you brought stuff too. Let's
I'm.
say hi to the chat first before
I,
we get. Look, we're 23 minutes of we're going to start. We're not going to start, and we're
yep.
already in it. So
Yep. You go.
you know.
Go.
But I want to say hi to these lovely people. There's some faces in here I haven't seen in a while. Hey Lindsay, how you doing, sweetheart? Henry, welcome in. Hey, Gerald, how you doing? Uncommon Belief, welcome, welcome. Bacon everywhere. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Really. Scott, I saw you. Hello, hun. How you doing? Chi, I think Chi was the first one in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If I missed you, I'll catch you along the way. D Rock, how you doing? Yeah, I know it's been hard for everybody out there. Froze, it's so good to see you. Let me see. What happened over Washington, D.C. and surrounding areas? News isn't saying anything. What happened? I don't know. Do you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, I do. There was a craft. There's 2 spots, and Washington, they had
Today?
no, this is a couple days ago.
For real. Yes, I did hear something. There's so
UFO.
much going on, dudes. I'm just telling you, it's so hard to keep in front of this. I do fairly well. However, I don't
Yeah.
I'm everything. I can't catch everything, but continue on. Please tell me. Go ahead.
So there was a sighting of a couple of craft in the DC area, and people saw it go down.
In the DC area.
Yep, in the DC area.
A couple days ago. What
Couple
type of craft? One of ours, one of theirs, one of
UFO.
who knows?
Well, as far as people
A
concerned,
UFO?
UFO, like,
Like Black Triangle, Tylenol, one of these great big
different
mama
parts,
crafts that looks like
different.
a
If it's
battleship.
a triangle, okay, I'm just gonna give it to you the
Are we
way I
gonna get in trouble? Are we gonna get demonetized?
no, I don't think you're gonna get
Can you
demonetized.
draw me a picture? Can you sound it out? Let me guess.
I can't. No, I can't say it. So I'm gonna explain it to you this way. If you see a triangle, a black
Be
triangle,
careful because we don't want to be signal, the Illuminati or anything. I don't want them to think we're on their
technically
side.
I am part of the Illuminati, but
I'm
whatever.
100% not. Listen to me.
Yeah,
I'm of the light. I don't,
no.
one of you.
That's another.
Got a whole nother bloodline, baby.
People grab something, co-opted it for whatever bull BS they wanted, and it's not true. But so if you see a black triangle, that is what that's craft. It's reverse engineered craft by the United States government.
100%.
1940 something.
Yeah.
And that's called
the
TR3B. TR3B. And it's literally UFO. It's our reverse engineered one. Sometimes it has a center, and then on each corner it has lights.
Did we not see that? I mean, I don't want to bring up. Listen, I certainly don't want to go down the line of what's going on over in the East right now. And I don't want to bring it up because I know it's in your heart. I know where your heart. I just want to say, did I or did I not see?
Yes, you did.
Over on a certain day
over the eye
in October, about a year ago.
This was
recent. Was over. Well, I'm talking about that day. And they were fending off, and you could see the triangle, and it's shooting, and nobody is talking about this.
Right.
That happened then.
Okay, so when
it happened again?
When the people that wear things on their head.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't mean to
sound it out. It sounds like
I ran
sounds like urban.
Go ahead. I ran so far away.
No offense.
Sent subways into the Star of David country, and it was at night. There was a TR3B captured taking out missiles.
Okay. See, I've been hearing, again, folks, listen. I want to, all right. Just say there was a project in 1963, may or may not have allegedly been the shade of a clear blank sky. And it may or may not have had a beam of some kind involved. Okay. Right. So, and the plan was to have Mary, the mother of Jesus, appear in the sky and speak in perfect, just this rhetoric to the Cubans to revolt.
Yep.
And this would, of course, cause a civil war and a holy war. And I think that's fair to say. I'm no expert, by the way. These are my theories, my opinion based on fact. Literally. And that was in 63. So when we're talking about like paranormal tape, ghost caught on tape or shadow people or whatever, blah, caught on tape, and we're watching that, and I say something cheeky monkey like, I saw Godzilla eat New York, and it was very convincing. So I can't tell you if this is true or not. I can tell you the
Right.
feeling I'm getting off of it. I can tell you that it's still exciting to see because what if, and why not, and could be. So there's my stuff, But I also mean, think about it. They can make you think Godzilla is eating New York. So
Yeah.
you are at the point in your lifetime that you're not sure anymore what's satire, what's AI, what's really happening, what's some kind of hologram. Because have you seen the Japanese art live on the street where the gargoyle comes out and hands you a hot dog or whatever the hell it is? It comes off the buildings and you think it's going to touch you.
It's
It's freaky deaky.
it's
Dragons encircling.
8D technology, 8D, 8 dimension. It
Gee,
is. It is.
gee,
They
gee.
they started getting you used to seeing it when they did a show, and Tupac
Yes,
rapped on the show.
yes, yes.
This,
Oh, I wonder if I can pull that up.
is
Let me
so much
see. Keep
better
talking. I'm gonna see if I can find that.
than
That would be
than
so
that.
cool.
That looked like a hologram. That looked like, help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope.
It's so true, so true. And that's again, very good point you bring up because I forgot. How could I forget about that stinking show? I saw that things 28 times in the theater.
Yeah.
And that was the first time you saw it during the chess, the holograms, and then of course, Princess Leia, she pops up and she's doing her thing, it's a hologram. But again, guys, if they're showing it to you in the 70s, what do you think they have? Knowing that a certain lettered agency that may or not be 3 letters,
Right.
allegedly,
Oh,
allows those movies through and lets you know that information because they've had it for 15 to 20 years and they're no longer interested in keeping it a secret, let you see it, but still give it to you like it's just some kind of, wild thoughts of a rogue writer, and they're doing them a favor letting it through. Don't be fooled. I'm
or
sorry. Continue on.
like,
Tupac.
DARPA. What was I
Uh,
thinking?
I can't believe all the little stupid connections I have to this stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. And I can tell you right now, 10 years ago, I know a lot of people in this field, in all these different fields, and we had one of which a multiple experiencer, multiple different races, by the way, as well as the military version. We can talk about that too, because they do it. They do abductions and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much a general consensus is about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we were about 150 years ahead of everybody in this planet in
Dude,
technology. Currently, you may want to slap another 100 onto it. So we're about 250 years ahead
it's
technology
insane.
wise
This
than all
reality is
on
just
this
such a trip.
planet.
Reality is a trip. Listen, this is the stuff that we know. We're sitting here actually having a real conversation about things that we saw and from multiple witnesses.
Right.
It's not like it's I don't think it's CGI, but I don't know. I mean,
Well,
that's where we're at. Well,
look at Woo Rider's profile picture, like his picture. He just brought it up, and Woo has got good information too.
hey, Will.
He has
Yes, doing a great job on your channel too, baby.
and these are the different versions of the craft. So it's not just a triangle. There are other
Hey, and hey, Monica.
there's other craft that we have that we've been using, and they're letting it out little by little. And what you're getting is a lot of self-autonomous flying vehicles now, which people are mistaking as UFOs, but they're technically drones.
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
you look
yeah,
at the
yeah.
craft
It's
on Moon,
insane. It's insane.
clip, like you'll see the TR-3B on the top for the most part, and
These
then
drones, these
below it,
drones.
you get the Deltas and some other stuff. Oh, Lockheed Martin not here's the coolest thing in the world. Not only is it self-flying and it has that certain drone, like that shape, the Delta shape, right? But it can change its shape. It can change to a diamond in
Stop
mid-flight.
it. Listen, it's
Crazy.
like Rod Serling, Alfred Hitchcock, Quentin Tarantino, um, and Shakespeare all got together and decided we're going to take over and we're going to rewrite the finishing, the next 20, 30 years of this universe and take over the world. We're just going to write it. We're just going to have at it, because you feel like Rod Serling's going to step out any minute and say,
Right.
and they found themselves in the Twilight Zone. The stories that I'm hearing from people on the ground, the things that are happening, and then you're in that and you're in deep and you're doing everything you can to help, and you're trying to, it's like, who do I know that can make a difference there? And you're just
Yep.
like logistics on steroids, and you come out of that and then you go to work and you're surrounded by 25 something year olds, and they just got their hair and nails did, and they're drinking the Starbucks, and they're yammering on, and I'm like, the reality of that kind of whiplash and no idea whatsoever, and knowing that these people are going home and have this, like, oh, if something happened,
They're not.
people would come with the white blankets with the red crosses on them and fix everything and give the kids teddy bears and, pay for their houses and, fix everything, because we put so much money in the system that surely will be taken care of. And then not enough, that's true.
You may
The
want.
unmitigated gall of having a certain news crew that will remain nameless, that is now showing live, probably on television as we speak. And it is their crew going around. I can't say with my own eyeballs, but the eyeballs that saw it,
Right.
I would trust them. And repeatedly. And get out of the van, run their crew over, stand in front of the mic like Cooper in Prada, standing out in front of a flood on another major MSM,
Yeah.
in and saying how his heart breaks for the poor and the downtrodden in Prada. So anyhow,
Yeah.
gag. I could
It's
gag. The reality of this world, sometimes the irony is just never lost on me, and it's just so
uh,
hard not to absorb it.
it's
But at the same time, knowing that they're jumping out and standing there with the mic, taking credit for it, telling you that this is, isn't it great that, your tax dollars hard at work, folks. We're here and they're here fixing this, and these guys have chainsaws and are putting back in bridges and opening roads and bringing supplies in and everything else. And isn't it great? Everybody's taking care of it. Your tax dollars at work. It's
yeah.
your government. No, it isn't.
Yeah.
It's civilian volunteers who took off from their jobs, hauled supplies, some of them with it on their back, holding onto a rope, walking on a cliff, having to go around said
Barriers.
organization,
Barriers of entry.
and had to go around to bring supplies.
There was more security in the roads of North Carolina and Tennessee than there has ever been at the southern border of the United States. I'm sorry I had to say it.
The reality that's happening to people just like you on the ground, right here, close
Yeah.
to you, could be you next week.
Oh,
So
yeah.
understand that there's so much going on, and I'm trying to reach out also to people that may be going through it too, because I feel like other people have just ascended, their abilities just went up a notch too. You're probably going through that, and you may be getting a lot of taps on your windshield, because we just lost an awful lot of people. There's a lot of souls right now going through transitions, and people with abilities are hearing those calls. So if you do get anything like that, I highly recommend. It's going to be a big thing because I need you to understand if one comes through, there's going to be others that are following. Those brighter lights that are moving. So you're going to need extra help. And there's a lot going on right now that I'm involved in, Brian's involved in, other people that many I know, and we're going to talk further on about that because I think if I'm getting the right vibe off of it, I think it's really going to crescendo in the next week because the veil is thinning. And I think it's our opportunity for a lot of light workers to help walk some of these. I'm trying to be so delicate here, but you know what I mean.
You got to be
Walk
very
some of these souls over.
Yeah.
And I just like to leave it there because
Yeah.
if you know, if you understand what I'm saying, do you get what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
This is our time. This is like this is what we're not gatekeepers because we're deciding who goes through. We're there to go. The doors open. Everybody goes through. There's a lot of and I always picture it as so many people along the way. Whatever your specialty is, or hey brother, I've been through this. I know the way through. Or you might need this. Here's a piece of wisdom you might take with you. Put this in your pocket as you go on your journey. That's what we're here to do. We were born for this time. And you're going to start escalating quickly if you get what I'm putting down.
Yeah, I just want to steer you a little bit back so you don't get
Go ahead.
back. And
Thank
remember
you. Go ahead.
journey through the gate.
But you see what I'm saying. Go ahead. Go ahead. I got a clip too, so we can run and jump into that and get an idea.
When you mentioned the people, and then you threw in Shakespeare, you may want to get rid of Shakespeare and throw in Francis Bacon because he pretty much wrote everything.
Yeah. Well,
sorry, but apparently Aunt Edna, I think this looks like you've seen it. She wrote, at first it looked like the brightest, there we go, brightest star in the sky till it started moving. When we thought I could see it and and it could see me, went through my head. It took off towards Annapolis. Yeah, there's two events that took place. I can't figure out the second event.
This is the Washington thing.
This is, I believe, the DC thing, if I'm correct. This is what you're talking about, Edna, right?
There's so much going on. There's you got plants blowing up in Georgia. You got the wildfires over here. You got earthquakes. You got.
So let me explain this to you about the UFO phenomenon, the UFOs, aliens, extraterrestrials, whatever you want to call it, different races. Before you can get off this planet, okay, and I'm not getting into flat earth theory with anybody. I don't want to fight you with it. But
love that, Lindsay.
Out into space, you have to be approved to get out into space because there are things out in space. If you could take a rocket right now, get off this planet and shoot past the stratosphere and you're in space, like you're there, you would see hundreds of different crafts all hanging out and up there by Earth. And they know it and they hide it from you on all the feeds and everything. So sometimes they get caught and they go through on those feeds, right?
Yeah.
But so they don't want you to know because they've known. There is so much they know, and everybody
Bryan, my brother, there is so much bullshit. There's so much going on at the same time, and you know what? Most of it's true. Most of it's true. It's been absolutely hysterical. I mean, just the level of things. It's like, when I pass people that know, like my son or something like that. And I'm like, what do you got today? Oh, there's an asteroid. We got a volcano fixing to pop off in Yosemite. We've got aircraft over the whatever, submarines of certain over here. We got, and it's just roll off a whole bunch of political stuff and everything else. And he goes, it's all true at the same time. Yeah.
And then on top of
the
that,
apocalypse, is Escape from New York. We're all Snake Plissken right now.
You have, then you have the computer issues that we have, and then I'm waiting one day to hear. Shall we play a game? I'm waiting for that.
It's coming. I watched a video today of this beautiful bright soul. He's definitely a light worker. He's a harder edged light. He's kind of like me, and this dude's a warrior. I would definitely want him on my team. On my squad, if I'm picking teams. So he's got a YouTube channel. His name is Wrangler Stars. He's fantastic. I love how he starts his video. He starts every video with beloved. You know, and I know what he's doing. I do it too. It's like I try to use a lot of nice, sweet words. So the boiling over doesn't come through, because listen, I've been living for like 25 years. I'm just trying to
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
just keep it down. You know me. He's Bryan, see me go slap off, you know. Well,
Oh man.
to a certain degree. But anyhow, so I just try to, and I've always feel like I'm doing people a favor when I don't say anything and I walk away. And I give myself a pat and I'm like, hey,
Right, we got through
good
that
job.
one.
Good job.
Yeah.
But if they get smug,
Ooh.
I gotta go back. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like, you don't want to do this. Please, you don't want to do this. You know, you want to rethink this. And that's how I feel. So when I say stuff like this, and when I listen, I'm going to go right back tomorrow and I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to keep trying to help people. And I'm going to keep trying to see where my talents are needed, or my thought, you know, look, we all got stuff, you know, and it's finding me like crazy. And the phone calls I'm getting and the things I'm listening to are off the chain. And it's not just because it's Halloween. It's because of the times we're in. And we all have to be listened. We're all adults. Well, I would assume, you know,
Some of us.
you know, it's relative. Your mileage may vary. So,
Yes,
but here's the thing. Here we are. We're light workers. This is what we're supposed to do. We got to be able to talk about it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of sad stuff, but listen, it doesn't have to be that way. We know different. So we have to see things as they are. Yes, this is happening. Yes, what we think these people are doing, somebody's doing something to somebody. And I'm pretty damn sick of it. But if we don't talk about it, we don't get it all out, and we don't talk about like what Bryan's telling you here. Listen, this stuff has been out. You know, when did Camelio come out? We've got invisibility and predator stuff from Robert Guffey. And that's what was that, 80s?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm spitballing, but I think
you don't understand. You know,
if you haven't read this book, read this book, Camelio, Robert Guffey.
60s, 70s, 80s were like, you know, you think technology was big in the 80s, which is all reverse engineered. Blu-ray comes from off this planet. Okay, there's lasers, there's so much stuff.
So much stuff. And the lies are, there's just no end, to the covering up and the shenanigans and the chicanery and the smoke and the mirrors and everything else. And we're starting to see it because it's all crumbling and you're seeing it for what it is. And your mind and your heart and your brain keeps telling you, surely not. You know, yeah.
Disclosure to the world. Yeah. Will take place. So I laugh at people about this whole disclosure movement, and they put all this effort and energy into Lou Elizondo,
right?
Who is what he does? Lou Elizondo. He works for he's worked for the Navy. And
wasn't he on Three's Company? Was he on that sitcom? No. He's a wrestler.
He's a government guy, and what he does,
government.
I thank everybody that works in the government for your service. I appreciate you, but this guy's coming out and telling you that UFOs are real, right?
I love my soldiers.
And basically, what he does for the government is to deceive people and lie. That's his end of the government.
Well,
but everybody's swearing he's telling the truth this time. I mean, you can't make this crap
look,
up.
dude, at this point, we got to see for ourselves. And it's so difficult because, again, paranormal, UFO, things that unidentified, whatever. You see the video, we have to question everything. Look at the autopsy thing. I have a thing on that too. The alien autopsy thing. I want to look at that.
Okay.
Again, it doesn't matter if it's real or it's not. The whole thing is the controversy and what people believe and how. I forget his name now. His name is Mark something. Grobert. He's so funny. I can totally relate to this dude because he was a little bit for a short time, long life of doing a lot of different things. And a lot of it had to do with advertising and comedy. And I think he produced and did some things for MTV when it first started, and MTV Magazine, and he had his hands in Cream, and what was the other one?
Tiger Beat, Teen Beat.
Yeah, but it was more of a comedy kind of thing. I don't know what it was, but
Mad Magazine,
like National Lampoon, I think, or something like that, and all the way through the other stuff, and game shows, a little here, a little there, comedy writer for this or that. So he met a lot of people. So he had a short little vantage point of all this different cultures and times and pop culture and fads, and like he knew, like he could talk on Lenny Bruce or the JFK you know murder in Dallas, or he can talk about oh Mort Saul, and wow, the name out of nowhere. Uh, so if you could watch like late night back in the 70s, you would have seen a lot of Mort Saul. Mort Saul was a really cool comedian. He was funny. He was again like a comedy writer, but he could tell stories about that. But when you can tap into these people and realize that Mort Saul was a comedy writer for a lot of people, but he also wrote for a lot of political. He wrote for when presidents were campaigning and things, and he had it out with Kennedy, and Kennedy said, well, if I win, I'm going to take you into the White House and you can work for me as a writer. And he said, I can't work for you, you'd be like the enemy, I got to be able to talk about everything.
right?
Free speech was so big and still is, and worth fighting for, that people like him and Lenny Bruce, and all these other people, they took these shots for us, and here we are still fighting for. You see what I mean? But they keep deflecting. They'll deflect, and then they'll trick you into taking another piece and another chunk and another chunk. And we're at that point now where I'm tired of getting bit, and I know everybody else is too. But the way you do it is, I see you. We're not allowing you to do that anymore.
Yeah,
and
they do that with like people when they start speaking the truth about things, and
they're doing it with this. They always have.
Well, I'm just gonna go on the entertainment side. Kanye West, okay?
Yep. Oh, I found that too. Go ahead.
That guy, he was speaking the truth about his experience with. There's in every group of this world, there's always going to be a handful that ruin it for the rest of them. And it doesn't matter.
There's always that one bad apple. There's always that one. That's something they teach you in the military, boy. I'll tell you what, when you're a platoon guide or a squad leader or whatever you may be, a drill sergeant, whatever you are, and you get punished for your squad, it totally changes your leadership. The way you go about doing things. Listen, all of these things are psychological ops that just always have you questioning reality. So eventually you either break and go along with the flow, or you step out of the flow and you go, I see this and you're not getting me anymore, and I think a lot of people are getting to that point. So here's one of the things that they can do. Take a look at this mess. I hope it's loud enough for no commercial. It's not very. That's a hologram.
Yep. That's a hologram. And it's pretty damn good. And if you really look at it, you can see the inner lighting of him. So there's the difference between some of this stuff. You can kind of, if you're keen on it, you'll know like certain things are lit within, like an LED display. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just having trouble loading or something, man. Hang on, let me see if I can jump forward a little bit.
Could be the internet.
I think you're either doing that, or look at how good that is. I think they're trying to play a commercial.
Right.
If you were in the front row. It's just spooky, dude. It's just spooky.
Your your voice. They can mimic what you look like, clone it. They can actually clone you, and we won't get into that right now.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I don't want
23
to.
and me skidoo.
Yeah, um, I
You know
did.
what I mean?
I did 23andMe, and it came back. I was 100% fucking awesome. I would never do it. You know, you always have that. See, this is the problem in this world, that there's some really good things here. Like, wouldn't it be great to know what you are? But someone always has a nefarious type of point to do it with. We'll get everybody's DNA. We'll swab a nostril to get their DNA, and then we'll clone them, and then
The stuff, the places we could go, my friend. Honestly, I'm trying to find this one. I'm sure everybody has seen this one.
So yeah,
I mean, this is this one here. I'm going to show you one more in case you haven't seen what we're talking about. So this may be what you see in the sky. The problem is when people say a fake something, it doesn't mean that everything is fake. You know, what's exploding may be real. You see
right.
what I'm saying? Because it causes fear.
Yep.
Let me see if I can get this shared here.
I don't think I got to be honest. I think Elvis. I think a lot of these people may have faked their.
You don't know when you see something like this.
This
Here
is
we go.
incredible.
Here we
This
go.
is 7-8D holograms.
Come on, man.
You would never
Thank you.
know. You wouldn't even think twice about it.
You see this, guys? So, if you know that the sky is a great big screen that's similar to how you would project, like, say, your Halloween ghost projections on a like a silk screen, the sky is similar to that. So, look what they can do on a gym floor. Crazy.
This is a mall.
Look at this in a mall.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter how you walk around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Is that not insane? It's just crazy. So it gives you a good idea.
Yep. And there was
crazy.
a gentleman that went, I forgot his name, and I apologize, but military. They went down to an underground base, and like one of those like uber secrets, like Q clearance type of stuff, like
Yeah.
And he went into and they showed him and I think it was a general, and he went into this room, and they opened up a hangar, and it was all black in the hangar, and he saw this giant UFO, and he was just blown away, and he even said that it felt like there was some kind of, when you touch metal, it's cold. He said, I could touch it, and it felt cold. They have the ability, when we're talking about 7, 8, 9D, it's not just what you visually are seeing. They have the ability to manipulate the area around you. Okay? So it can feel like water splashing on you. Winds.
Wow, right?
And
wow.
smells.
And that's not even when you start talking head to skull. I mean,
that's
you know what I'm saying. What am I looking for? I'm saying it wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's
head to skull. That's the same thing.
Yeah, it's skull talk.
Yeah,
they use microwaves.
You hear stuff. It's incredible. So when you step back and you look at this whole thing, and you say, okay, well, is there something coming out of the sky that you have to stop back, and you have to find a center, and you have to say, look, this is what they've been showing us this stuff since the 40s, 30s. What was it, in the 20s they were doing War of the Worlds. It's definitely a fear factor. It's definitely a thing where they could say, if you have a common enemy, we can bring everybody together under one one focus, and that focus is fear, make it stop. And it's the most powerful weapon used. So if you know what they can do, it's kind of like we're living in that world where you're in like a Halloween haunted house, and you know that there's a chance that the college drama students that are playing out the parts may be on acid, may actually believe that they're Jack the Ripper. So you have that kind of question that makes the fear even better, makes the jump scares even more so. But how close are you going to let that get before you try to really, you know what I mean? You don't know when to quite jump, and it keeps you jumpy. So the more you look at it and keep it on that real level, and you realize, look, there are aliens out there. They may or may not be coming from space. They may or may not be extra dimensional. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. Everything is connected. Some of the craft you see is our stuff. In fact, probably most of it at this point. And there is good and bad in everything, including us. And unfortunately, the scales of justice right now are kind of weighed down with the heavy evil, but the light is starting to lift it, and eventually it's going to be in sunlight so much that it's just going to poof and be done.
I'm going to give you an example of what I think you should look for when you see a strange object.
Okay. That's good, need to know stuff.
Here's the difference
Then we'll play some sightings. Go ahead.
This is the difference between extraterrestrial, like ET, different races, mantis people, whatever, and something that is reverse engineered by us or another human base on this planet. If it's really crystal clear and you can get a good picture of it, most likely it is man-made, because these beings have been coming to this planet since the beginning. They know how to hide. They don't want to be seen and they don't want to be known
until they do,
until they let you know. And I'm seeing the bloodline talk going on in your chat, and I've done
an RH negative. And if you don't think that they're looking for bloodlines, going with this 23andMe thing, you're off your gourd.
But it's my personal opinion from research. And there was a gentleman named Butch Witowski that agreed with me. We used to have a conversation. Butch passed away a couple of years ago. Great guy. I don't believe it's the RH factor. It is the combination of how rare it is, or it's the blood type. And AB blood is really, really rare. But the problem is a lot of people that get abducted or taken through the line are O's. Why? The universal.
And there are sometimes, in a lot of these special cases, these groups they have some kind of, they're either extremely smart or on the autist, on the spectrum, and things like that, and German for some reason, so again, just understand that evil doesn't do one thing for one reason. They do multiple things on multiple levels for multiple reasons. And you have to, the only way to find out who did it is to look back and see who benefited from it.
Right.
And, when they're doing things like instantly 3 weeks after the fact, you can research on your own and double check me if you like. They are actually putting in tornado shelters, bunkers for 700 workers that are stated to be from somebody who hasn't done a whole lot over there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's almost looking like Area 51 over there. And they're doing that. They're not putting up bridges and fixing roads and delivering supplies and helicopters and all this. This specific group, they're doing that. And when stopped and asked by an independent journalist, what are you doing here? Oh, well, are you here? Are you collecting 700 workers for infrastructure reasons? We're going to help people that the survivors fill out paperwork.
Yeah.
They're in a tent behind a school or behind a Pizza Hut or whatever in these towns, just sitting there waiting for the survivors to come down out of the mountain and find them. And you put your head on your pillow with this security and you think somebody's got this. No, You have this.
Right.
You have this. This is your spot to stand up in your square foot of real estate. Make sure your kids go into a good school, or you homeschool them yourself. You make sure that you're doing it. Double check everything, including aliens and UFOs. Personally, I've seen a few. I think the most profound, you've had so many more experiences, but the most profound one I had was when I was chased by this light. And it was, that's the only way I can describe it. It was just a circle of light. It almost looked like a searchlight on clouds without the beam. Just a circle of light.
I know what you're talking about.
And my friend and I are walking home. Typical fall evening. Perfect childhood memory of walking home. She lived on one end of the street. I lived on the other. It was a dead end. And it was L-shaped. So you walk past one house, her house, another house, and then you hung a right, and behind you was just acres of woods. And you started going toward my house, and we had to walk past as luck would have it, the haunted house of the neighborhood where the crazy lady lived.
Oh, the Scooby-Doo house?
Yeah, a lady who never came out, and it was just like the shutters would bang and stuff. It was perfect. You had to walk by, and it was getting dark. And I remember looking back, because you always look back, because like something following me, leaves are you going down the street, that kind of stuff, weird sounds. And I look up over these woods and over the sky, and I see this light and it was small at first. And I remember telling her, "Hey, there's a light over there," I can't remember exactly what I said. We were like 11. And I remember pointing at the light and saying, whatever's, and at that time, there was a lot of those used car places back then.
Like
This would be the 60s. Yeah. And they would do the spotlights to get you to come to the sale. So I was kind of used to seeing that. And I remember stopping and saying, that's exactly what it looks like, because you could see it moving across the clouds. And I thought to myself, hey, it doesn't have a beam. It doesn't have there's no line to it. There's no connection. Where's the place it would be coming from? And I'm looking over towards it was like, it's woods over there. So anyway, that's what made us stop and see it. And when it was really weird. It was like when we stopped and looked at it and recognized it, it stopped moving around, and it just stopped because it was doing all this kind of weird stuff. It just kind of stopped. And then it seemed to get closer, stayed the same. It was weird. It would stay the same distance, but it was closer somehow. And we started walking, and it kind of zigged with us, was doing one of those things. And all of a sudden, as 11-year-old girls will do, we just screamed and started to run. And we ran towards my house. And I remember it was much later when we ran in the door, and we literally went through the door. My mom was in the kitchen. We slammed the door and did that kid thing where you lean up against the door and just hit your butt against the door like something's chasing you. And she was mad that we were so late. And that's all I can really remember about that, And then Steve made me remember he said, "Did you lose time?" And I said, I never thought about it like that, but it was definitely later. It was a short run, about 100 and, 50 yards, something like that, from where we were running. It shouldn't have got that late, but I can't really remember all of it. You know what I mean?
Don't take it the wrong way. I'm not going to say this in a negative way, but because of it happening so long ago, when you're a younger person, not thinking about it, you would never know. But what you just said immediately, I know there was missing time there.
Yeah.
You and your friend.
We have missing time.
Yeah. And I could talk about that stuff too. And I'm not.
Well, listen, I have no, other than my mom being upset, I have no recollection. I didn't have any pain. I didn't feel like I woke up at a Diddy party or, anything like that. So, I mean, I would remember, not to make light, but you got to keep that out there too. Lest we forget
that evil is evil.
There are monsters among us, and most of them are human at this point. We may be getting some coming out of the sky and out of other dimensions. I'm pretty sure we are, but who's controlling them and why are they here is really what needs to be concerning us, not whether or not they exist, because there's definitely something going on. Are you ready for a clip? I need to get some hot water. You want to go get some snacks or something? I can't remember the order these are in, so we're just going to push a button and hope for the best. But somewhere in here, I have the alien. It's a short thing. It's like 2 to 3 minutes on the alien autopsy thing and what this one guy, we're talking about. There, it depends on who you listen to, whether you believe it or not. And I think that's what everything is today on so many levels. You know what I mean? So it's nothing new. Here we go. Let's try this one. Oh, that's fun. Isn't that fun? There you go. See, you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh, folks. There he goes. There he goes. Look at that. Global warming. That's what's doing it. Aliens and cow farts. We're screwed, apparently. All right. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine? Take us to your leader. Honey, you don't want to meet him.
Sightings has received a number of home videos from viewers. Most of these tapes can be explained by our experts as aircraft or natural phenomena. But a few do remain unidentified. Although the sightings are too brief to allow for a definitive explanation, these home videos offer a unique glimpse of what our viewers are seeing every night of the year.
This is perfect. I pulled this one. This is, again, our wonderful Tim White from the 1993 to 7, I believe. I could be off on the years that it was on television. Sightings was fantastic. We've mostly seen him telling about ghosts and haunted houses and stuff like that. Tonight, it's the UFO. Now, I pulled this because it's home footage of what were we getting in the 80s and 90s, because most of that, this is from that time period. That's how much is it different from what we're getting now? Because that's not very long. I mean, depends on how you look at it, how you're counting the decades, but I mean, I was in high school, just graduating high school when these people were taking these home videos. And here I am on this end of life, and I'm looking at, Bryan's got some of the stuff I was looking at today and, have seen that people are getting on their cameras now. Of course, the tech has changed, but have the craft changed? Because that's wild. And I think it has. So let's look. I'm gonna get some water.
911, what are you reporting?
What the hell is that? It's not a helicopter because I can't hear it.
Du, in der Kamera, siehst du das unheimlich gut?
Ja.
Ja.
Every amateur home video submitted to Sightings asks the same questions. What are they? Where did they come from? And where are they going? The answers have yet to be found. Before the advent of home video technology, the government did try to find an answer. But of the 12,618 cases investigated by Project Blue Book, 701 remain a mystery. Project Blue Book ended in 1969, but the sightings have not. Thousands are reported each year, many to the sightings offices. Recently, several videos arrived from one area of northern Michigan.
There's been a lot of speculation. Why Michigan? Michigan has historically had an extremely high percentage of reported UFO sightings in the United States.
Approximately 7:05 that morning, I received a call from this female who identified herself as Tracy Shada, and I could tell the tone of her voice, she was quite frightened.
It took about 3 or 4 times to ask him what the complaint was about before he told me it was a UFO reported.
When we sent a team to investigate, State Troopers Gouldner and Lasky told us that in their 20 years on the force, they've received hundreds of UFO calls.
99% of the time, you take it as somebody who sees a bright light up in the sky. Personally, I felt there's definitely something there. This lady is not telling some concocted story.
I'm guessing it was 2 to 3 times the size of my barn, and as the object appeared to be moving away, I got real scared.
There's things out there that are unexplained, and this is one of them.
Home video shot by viewer Richard Almeida alerted us to an unexplained sighting in the skies above Sacramento, California.
I called FAA in the morning and told them what we encountered. and he said that that they didn't pick up anything on radar, and that was it as far as that conversation went.
Home videos like those from Michigan and Sacramento are analyzed by photographic and aeronautic experts. Sophisticated computer technology compares and contrasts UFO images with those of known aircraft. Photo analyst Jeff Sainio interpreted the Sacramento video.
You see a dot in the sky, which in itself could be a star. It's really difficult to tell from the video itself, but more interestingly, another light comes up from below it.
Because the images themselves are so minute, the flight pattern and velocity of the UFO become critical to the analysis.
The important thing we get from this graph is that the apparent speed here appears to double in the 11 seconds that we see this thing. That's quite possibly simply because it got closer to us. So what kind of object gets twice as close to us in 11 seconds and you still can't make out what its shape is? It's still just a dot. And so this video I simply can't identify. It's got a characteristic that seems to defy conventional explanation.
In Aliso Viejo, California, Dale Newcomb shot this video of what he describes as a flying saucer. Analysis proves otherwise.
Here's a freeze frame of the object that was seen in Aliso Viejo. Very classic saucer shaped there. The giveaway, here we're seeing it go out of focus. The giveaway we see is the FAA compliant anti-collision strobe lighting. You'll see a flash on the bottom and the top of the object every once in a while. It's the giveaway that these are rather startling looking, but conventional advertising balloons.
Sainio is a staff analyst with MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. As the leading independent UFO organization, MUFON also receives many videotapes, including this one from Greifswald, Germany, that had the military very concerned.
There was a case of multiple lights in the sky, hundreds of witnesses, objects joining and leaving a main group of objects. I think the sighting went on for well over an hour. Allegedly this was shot at by Russian artillery, and witnesses saying that these things flew off at very high speed. I simply can't guess as to where they come from.
With the advent of home video technology, the number of documented UFO sightings has risen dramatically, but the percentage that can be explained has not risen. Ironically, the more unidentified flying objects amateur ufologists capture on tape, the greater the mystery becomes for professional analysts.
Having any kind of evidence, including videotape and still photos, really increases the acceptability, the acceptance of the fact that there is definitely something going on.
If you see a UFO and you have a video camera ready, here's an important suggestion. Try to keep the camera steady. Avoid panning back and forth or zooming in and out. And if at all possible, try to include some other object like a tree or building in the frame. This way, analysts can better determine the UFO's actual size, shape, and velocity.
Always good advice.
So there it is. There's this huge alien craft. You're like, hold on, hold the camera steady, honey.
Hold the camera steady. For the love of God, landscape, not portrait.
It doesn't work.
Get good focus.
Okay.
And, again, there's something to be said for, depending on what you're talking about. I think it's very much like the paranormal. People try to broad brush everything. They think that all alien craft are going to be made of whatever they collected in Roswell, supposedly, allegedly, with the cop and the bending metal and the stuff that would fold and unfold, the material collected, and then it was a big controversy and a hush, thing. And there he is in the famous picture in the on the newspaper. You know the one I'm talking about, where he's kneeling down, he's got the debris.
Oh, he was.
And then what we know, and you look back and go, okay, is that what really happened, or was that a psyop? And this is what they're telling us it happened, and throwing in the weather balloon stuff just to throw us off.
The original story was real when he held up that stuff. You can see the expression on his face.
Yeah.
Because the general comes in after, says, no, scrap that, different picture. And you can see that Marcel is just like, following
Right.
orders. He's not happy about it.
Well, like,
whatsoever,
also, Brian, look at this. Look at the pictures that they're getting. Going back, trying to get back to where they had that MUFON stuff, but the
Right.
pictures that they're getting, very similar to what we're seeing today, except it seems to me that there's new stuff, and there it is, folks, right there. It seems to be that we are getting different, of course, more streamlined, more aerodynamic. You're hearing a lot of the TikTok stuff, where if you look back, at all the things, the portraits that
Right.
were in, like in the background of the Bible illustrations, depending on what version you have, and in all the other paintings, different places that they've seen the saucer, flying saucer. And then, of course, now we're up to TikTok and triangles and
You're
motherships and
you're talking about
different stuff.
It's not only different stuff, but you're talking about over 200 plus, 400 plus different type of species.
This is what I'm saying. You can't broad brush it. Everything is just like ghosts, just like entities and trolls. You throw in the magical leprechauns and shit and the jinn. Holy God, you got a party.
Go to a county fair or a football game or whatever, and do it one day, 1 year. Take a picture of it and check out all the cars that are there, and you'll have a sea of different cars depending on the year there. And then come back 6 months later, and then come back 2 years later.
I see it all the time in old footage. Yeah, the cars.
These crafts, their technology advances.
Great analogy.
And then what they'll do is they'll enhance their craft.
And we steal it.
When we made the agreement, the Eisenhower agreement,
our people, holy
this
shit.
information, a craft to work on and what we caught, they gave us a Yugo and they had a Lambo. So they gave us they gave us a 77 Pinto,
Yeah. Just don't back up too fast.
Don't back up too fast.
Stop short. Don't stop short in traffic.
Yeah, because you're gonna blow up. Because they knew we could still beat them with 10.
We do it too. We're just I just wish people could quit. Just stop being evil. Stop doing evil shit. Stop lying. Stop hurting people. Stop hurting people on purpose. Just stop. It doesn't need to be this way. It's got to this great big, just festered boil of nasty, demonic, energetic, this power gangrene, and it's just got to be. I myself am over it. It must stop. It must stop. I see you. It must stop. We all see you. We are light workers. You're not the only ones with bloodlines. We are here. We were born for this, and we're going to love this crap away. We're going to be cool people. We're going to be. We're not falling for your BS. If aliens are here and they're powerful and they're more intelligent, why we always assume that, I don't know, because I guess because they have better craft and they can get in and out. Okay. Well, I know some creatures that can do that, and they're not, and you know what I mean? I go up against, trivia testing, top 50 questions, top score wins, IQ tests, because some of them are pretty stupid. They're just primal. They're just like cavemen.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? That doesn't mean that they can't survive and they don't know how to fight.
No,
or use their skills or whatever. You feel me?
Yeah, no, I totally, my
they're just assuming.
Here's something.
There's good and bad in all of it. Look at our people. Look what we're doing to each other. Look at what human beings are doing to human beings.
100%.
And we're scared of aliens. Hold my beer. That's what we say. That's what humans say. We don't need your help screwing us up. We got this. We got this. We don't need your help.
Yeah.
Give us your money and your women or whatever.
Exactly. This was the closest thing we had back in the day.
Yep.
I'm going to show you something. I'm just going to.
You going to pull some up? You going to share screen?
No, I'm going to present. Yeah, share screen. And you'll love this because I have multiple things on here I can I can share if I can find the darn thing.
I just find those home videos that he was showing just because they could have been taken yesterday. I mean, we see so many. We got black smoke circles in the sky. We got lasers. We got lasers taking, out certain great big old stones. You know what I mean?
Right.
Certain stones that wanted to guide people a certain direction. Just out of the sky.
The 70s we had, and if you'll see it, that book right there. I remember
that was it, man. I had that book.
It's probably bringing back a lot of
that's
memories.
Probably my copy. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
That's
the book we had.
Wild.
But
wow.
Yeah, I'm going to just go to that for 2 seconds because this is a presentation when I do a close encounter of the fifth kind event. I'm trying to get to it. This is something I've actually witnessed.
Okay.
Hold on. This was something 1998. I actually I witnessed this thing, and all those little circles on it. If you can
like
see
Swiss cheese. It's a big wheel of cheese.
You don't understand. It was
No.
It was pulsating.
Ew, that's creepy. That's like plasma.
Yeah. It
was
pretty intense.
Creepy. Was there energy coming off it?
100%. I'm this is in 1994. I had a UFO. Not 1994. In the 80s, they had the Night Siege, which was the Hudson Valley UFOs, and I remember. My dad was we worked for the Associated Press Wide World Photos. So he was a photographer. Later more of the what they call paparazzi now.
Yeah.
He sold the pictures of Jennifer Flowers.
I feel like I should know who that is.
Bill Clinton's mistress.
Oh, stand in line.
He sold them to the Star. The Star was his client.
Before, after Monica and all the young ones that he was on 28 times on a certain flight may or may not be called the Lolita Express. Explain that, Bill.
Yeah,
what are you doing? What are you doing on the island, Bill?
I don't know if people remember it. In the 70s, there was these different types of UFOs, and they went up the Hudson Valley, and then they cut across Route 84 from into New York State into Connecticut, and they went, and it was just a massive, almost an invasion. And I remember.
What type of craft were these? Were these like the triangles?
There were deltas.
Okay.
Not really triangles. There were deltas. There were strange lights. Long craft up in Westchester County of New York, over the Taconic Parkway. There's a hospital. It's the Westchester Medical Center, and a nurse came out of the hospital and was getting off her shift, walking to the car, and when she got to the car, she kind of looked up, and hovering over her head was a mile-long straight craft.
Oh, geez. We're seeing a lot more of this mothership stuff, and you're hearing more of the almost look like upside down battleships. And for years, I'd say last decade, maybe 15 years, you're hearing so much more of the ones coming out of the ocean and out of the water.
Those are USOs. Those are
USOs, yeah. But just all of this, I mean, it's crazy. Now, what is it? Is this a bridge? What is this? Wait a minute. Was that a craft or was that a bridge? What is this?
I was dating the woman I married, and I was working with her in Waterbury, Connecticut, July 4th weekend. I used to spend my summers up in Connecticut because my mother was head counselor of a sleepaway camp up in Winstead.
Okay.
And the stupid things men do for love, they'll do anything, blah, blah, blah. So I went and I started.
Oldest trick in the book, honey.
Yeah. So I worked with her at her camp, and July 4th is my birthday. So I wanted to go hang out with some of my friends up there. So it was a 3-day weekend. It ended up like Monday. So, or it was Friday. So we had Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's July 4th, and it's so dead quiet. And I'm driving up Route 8, which is a 2-lane going north and then 2-lane going south. And what I loved about that area is you can see the galaxies, you can see stars and whatever. So as we're driving in my 1992 Acura Integra, doing 70 miles an hour. We're the only ones on the road. He starts, starts looking out the window. It's like, what's that? And we get close to a town up there. And I said, oh, it's a radio tower. And they have to have one of those radio towers. So that's what you're looking at right there. And that's what the radio tower looked like. It was over a mile long, and it's lit up every so many feet with red lights for aircraft, right? Because they can crash into it, right? So I said, "Oh," she goes, "It looks like it's floating," and I didn't see what she was seeing, so I had to replicate what I saw that night. So I said, "It's the radio tower," and then when I did the radio tower, this is what happened. It started on the right like that, then it started going left, then going left again, and then it started coming at me.
Oh wow!
And it was massive, and this thing was coming at me, and it was kind of triangular, and my Integra is on the bottom. This thing is hovering over my car, and it's blacker than black. Okay, but
it's crazy. Yeah,
of the stars there, because the stars are plentiful. It's beautiful. You can see where it ended. And she is literally hanging out of the moonroof going, what the hell is this?
Right.
And I remember my radio went out.
They're right there.
I thought it shut down. And in my head, I'm saying, stop the car, Bryan, stop the car, Bryan. And I didn't. And I think that's my guardian angel, my spirit guides saying, no, you keep your foot on the gas. And as we're driving, and seems like 5 minutes, this thing is just following me and her in the car. We're the only ones on the road. I see oncoming headlights from the road, which is just a little bit higher going south than where I am north. So it catches my attention. Now I got to focus. I can't just keep looking up. I got to focus on the road. Split second, I looked, focused, looked back up. It was gone. I jammed on the brakes, and I was in the middle of Route 8 in Connecticut. Literally, car stopped the car in the middle of the freaking highway, and we're looking around, and I'm like, where the hell did this thing go?
Where'd it go?
Was this, and I kid you not, it was bigger than Giant Stadium.
Yeah. So many people have had these experiences, Bryan. Yep. I mean, again, the fella that I was telling you about earlier that knew like Mort Saul and touched on, he's like the Forrest Gump of the entertainment pop culture, Yeah. So he touched all these people. He had an experience like this, very similar in I want to say upstate New York, around like maybe Lake George or somewhere up in that area, and he's up there and he's driving, but in his case, I think it was a Volkswagen Bug, belonged to a chick he was dating, her girlfriend. They're all in this Volkswagen Bug. They're trying to get back to this hostel that they were staying at up there that they had all rented as a drama club, some college he was going to up there. Anyway, they stopped and their car just died. They get out to look at it, and they look over in the field, and there's a craft very similar to what you're just describing, right in the field next to them. And one of the girls started walking towards it, like Richard Dreyfuss in the Third Kind, and she's just drawn to it. And he's like, no, and they all got frozen. They could not move, they could not walk. They were totally aware, but it was like they were just stunned and frozen in time. He said it lasted for just a minute. The thing took off, and when it was, how they go, and as soon as it part came and it was gone, they unfroze, and it was just like, get back to the car. He had to go collect the girl that had gotten a little further. It was almost like what was that? Fire in the Sky.
I'm friends with Travis, and I've talked to
Travis. That was it. Yep. Yep. Well, let me see if this next thing. I want to get before you show another thing. Okay, go ahead, because I want to show you that autopsy thing.
It's right here, and this is in on August 19th, in 2012,
Jersey Shore,
in the Jersey Shore. And this is, I just want to show this to you because it relates to something that's previous. You want to go in a little bit of an order. So I'm going to play it for you, and I'm going to shut up.
It's like a big old chemtrail.
Oh, it gets better. I'm trying to make it bigger.
No, it's fine, honey. It's fine.
I'll focus in on it in a second. You'll see it. That's my oldest daughter, who's will turn 17 in a couple of days.
Yeah.
She's 4.
Wow.
So now I'm gonna zoom in on this thing, and I'm gonna tell you what happened during this. It takes a second, and I know it's like, what am I supposed to be looking at? But believe it or not, I do have the camera on where I need to be.
Why can't I capture it on tape?
It's right in center screen.
Yeah. It's just hiding behind a cloud.
There it is. Watch this thing. Look at this thing. It's in there and it's hovering, and you know at the Jersey Shore they have balloons.
I don't think it's just purely that.
Right? So
Right.
I'm thinking maybe plastic bag balloons. This is 3. It's like a club. It looks like the clubs on a card. It's 3 circles.
Gets around.
Oh, okay.
This appears, and I heard military jets over the Jersey Shore, and I see this. You know, it kind of comes in. It caught my eye, and I'm watching this. And the next thing you know, it disappears, and then the next thing you know, you hear the military jets, and they fly by that area. You can hear them. They're coming in, and once they come in, it fades out. It hides.
I hear them.
And then the military jets come in, get close to that area, and it hides from them. They knew they were there.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay. So I mean,
we've been playing cat and mouse with this stuff for so long, it's not even funny. And the thing is I just don't understand why people that know what just happened, the most recent stuff. I mean, everybody sees, right?
Right.
And you think, but I really want those people to come out and tell me aliens are real, and they've been here all along. Why?
Eventually everybody.
Why would you believe? You know what I mean? Why don't you believe your own eyes when you see wild stuff? I've been, everybody's been seeing a lot more stuff lately. I don't know if it's, the technology. Everybody's got a camera in their pocket or what, but I'm sure that's part of it. But I think it's escalated and, happening more, and they're having a harder and harder time to cover so much up. I mean, at this point, 80% of people have to be crazy because, they believe in ghosts, or they believe in UFOs, or dogmen, or, Bigfoot coming in and out of portals, or soul suckers, or, I mean, the stuff has exploded. The information has exploded. Like Froze said, back in the day, all we had was shows like Sightings and Unsolved Mysteries and Twilight Zone and some of the ones we mentioned. Now everybody's got a show in their pocket. You know what I mean? Almost said a show in their pocket sounded funny, but
So
you know what I'm saying.
Right. This is a screen grab from it, and this is what the craft looked like.
3 circles together.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, "Holy crap! I know what this may be." And there it is.
Yes,
close.
look at it.
Look at it. All right. If you followed UFOs for a while and you know the history, and we were talking about Germans.
Yep.
It looks, pretty. I did the negatives. You can see a little bit of
right.
And this is the Kecksburg
The
UFO.
bell.
Kecksburg, Pennsylvania.
Yep. When the military came in, threw a tarp over it and took it off. In the middle of the night. Yep.
But it sure as heck looks a little bit like the Glock.
Doesn't it though?
Nazi Glock.
Could be.
Now, something very interesting about the Glock, and I'm going to go back to, and I'll unshare this. I'm going to stop sharing this for now. When World War II is ending, Hitler, he didn't unalive
And
himself.
the Brill and all that stuff. Yeah.
Whatever.
Argentina.
My
chat knows. This chat knows.
Yeah, over 200,000. Hold on, over 200,000 Nazis disappeared. And what they are talking about is that they literally got in a craft and either went back or forwards in time or to a different dimension, or there's a lot of talk about Antarctica. So, because the Nazis they were playing a lot up there.
And Edna saw a pyramid. You know, so many in here have had experiences. Again, you can't tell people that have seen so much stuff and seen the dastardly deeds, the dirty deeds done not so cheaply on our dime. You know, so many other things. It's again, it's like the Tupac hologram. It's, is it real or Memorex? But when so many people are seeing so much, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, you know, you got to figure if they were here to do something, they would have done something. I hear a lot of
Oh yeah.
things being stopped, things being changed. I know that there's a lot. Look, good and evil's both kicked in full throttle at this point, and you're going to see a lot more strange stuff coming.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I did this show was that, you know, not only to distract, and I know I'm sorry, I'm so livid. I've got this like boiling on the surface. I'm sure a lot of people can relate, because I am seeing the stuff and I am trying to help as I can and keep that light on, but it gets hard. But when you look back at these things and you realize that for decades they've been telling you the same stuff, you see a MUFON mentioned in here and all these other things. And again, there's good and bad in everything, but what really has gotten done? And is it any difference than, say, a society that you've been hearing about collecting money, help us find a cure since for decades, and we're no closer to a cure? Did you see where I'm coming from? It just seems like they're moving a lot of money and stuff for a lot. It seems like a lot of people in those offices that are begging you to give them money are walking around, you know, please, for the kids, and they're walking around with Coach purses and you know, telling you your news in Prada. You know, we're at this point that the lunacy is off the freaking hizzy, you know. So looking back at this and looking at the footage and looking at Bryan's footage now, they haven't given us any information. It's been us. It's been us saying, I know what I saw, whether it's paranormal, supernatural, aliens, Bigfoot, name it. And this show is to just further strengthen your knowledge when the world gets crazy. I want you to say to yourself several things. One of them being, I was born for this. I have these abilities for a reason. I feel this way for a reason. I know how to control it, and I know what I saw.
Yeah.
You can't lie to me anymore. Even if you're going to throw holograms and hurricanes at me, I know what I saw. Because you're going to use your filters that they've been trying to stifle with fluoride and so many other things. God, I sound like an absolute psycho. And it's all true.
No, you know what? You're gonna
Do you
have
know what I mean? Sometimes I hear the things coming out of my mouth. I know them to be true, and I sound like an absolute psycho.
Yeah,
and that's the best part. It's just it's insane. Go ahead.
You're gonna get a moment like when you're seeing this. I know what I'm seeing. You've got this. You know it.
I know what I saw.
And I'm gonna say something. It's kind of funny, but it would be great. Like it's a great scene in a movie. Like, okay, I'm not gonna cry. You know, some people will have to say that. Okay, I'm not gonna cry. It's okay to cry because it's a really weird lottery you're winning when you see this. No money involved in it. None, unfortunately. No $415 million. But you are seeing something, and most likely
once in a lifetime shit, man.
It's once in a lifetime, but you may have a bigger purpose, and that may be a wake-up call to you saying, I have a bigger purpose here.
Yep. Everybody here listening, because you're drawn to it. Like,
right?
Like somebody turned the light on the back porch. You're drawn to it. And whether, again, all of this is connected, whether we're talking about aliens or whether we're talking about the ghost in your basement, it's all connected because it's energy. The veil is getting thinner. That's the truth about Halloween. Pagan holiday, this, carving turnips, that, you know, you don't let your kids trick or treat. Don't celebrate just do you. You know why you're doing it. 10 is everything. And that's my thoughts. Decorate, do the pumpkin carving, do the pumpkin, whatever, all of it. I love all of it. I really do. But I go at it with the right intent, and I know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I can see some people, listen, some people are so weak. They're so, you know what I mean? All they need is a little push, a little, come here. You want some candy? And they're gone.
Yeah.
You know, we're not talking about people listening to this. These are warriors. These are hard baked, hard candy shell over here, hard earned. And this is what we're born for. So I have to throw these little things in there because I'm not alone in this for sure. And there's a lot of us listening that are feeling the same way because you were drawn to this. Does this make sense? So I'm throwing it out there so hey, I feel that way. Yeah, I saw that. For real, I was hoping that wasn't true. No, honey, it's true.
Yep.
And if you don't realize it is, you can't put up the right kind of armor to protect yourself and your family and everything else. And what I mean by that is whatever it means to you. An extra can of beans, more water, a garden, a move, whatever. And watch your back, watch your six, because they are out to get you. You ain't paranoid. So watch your back, be careful. And again, some of these aliens, I've always looked at it as, like ghosts. Take them one at a time. If you're having, look, I do not give my consent. You're not, I don't care who signed what paper or who you sat down with and powwowed with. You do not have my consent. I'm not a dolphin. I don't even approve of dolphins being tagged and released. So you're not doing it to me. And now you approach it the same way as you would a ghost that wants to come in and possess you or lay down next to you in the bed. No, this is my space. Not having it. So if you approach it like that in a peaceful roadhouse rules way, nice. Right. So nice no longer works. You see what I'm saying? So let's see if this is the alien footage and because
I got a couple more UFOs I want to show you.
Okay, baby. So let's do this one. This was real short like the other one, and then we'll watch your stuff and that'll take us out of here. Sure. And I appreciate y'all being patient. I know it's been kind of a, it is what it is. And you know what you saw. Let's see what this is. Maybe it's I think it's another Sightings. It was a good show. It's a good pick.
Congressional investigations are reserved for matters of great import, issues that will affect the security, prosperity, and the rights of the American people. And it was with this sense of public duty that Gerald Ford chaired a congressional investigation in 1966. An investigation into a series of UFO sightings that the Pentagon had failed to explain to anyone's satisfaction.
We have not been hiding anything. The investigations have been made public. The explanations of those where there is a clear explanation have been made public. The hearing this morning was public for just that reason.
It was an age of innocence when a veteran reporter getting to the bottom of a UFO story expected a straight answer from the Air Force.
Does this mean that the Air Force really thinks that there are such things as flying saucers?
This is cannot be released, no statement until after the United States Air Force has reviewed the investigation.
In the 1960s, the American public turned to the federal government and demanded an explanation for the increasing number of UFO sightings. The government offered little or no information, disregarding or at worst discrediting the sightings and the eyewitnesses. In Exeter, New Hampshire in September of 1965, Air Force investigators arrived at the home of Norman Muscarello, and Norman learned that going public about his UFO encounter was a dangerous endeavor.
They came in my mother's kitchen, asked where I was. He said, "Where's Norm?" She says, "In the living room." And he marched right out there without asking or anything. And he said, "You, shut your mouth. Don't you say another word." Exactly what did you think you saw? He was...
See, what's this shit about? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This, who are you? You come in here, story after story after story after story. Who are these men in black that show up and say, you can't speak of this? Why? Why? Somebody explain it to me. Why? Well, you don't need to know. Well, then why did I see it? Why are you telling me that now I have to look like a jerk and, tell everybody, oh, I must have been mistaken. Might have been a school bus floating up there, or, maybe I didn't get abducted and, taken, for 5 days like Travis. And the way people are treated, here they're going to lock these guys up for murder, put them through, I don't know how many polygraph tests and the townspeople talking and making all the victims look like they're crazy and all that stuff. And then you got jerks showing up in suits and, fedoras and telling you you didn't see what you saw.
Yeah, you saw
You know,
nothing.
And what do we say to that? I know what I saw. You're not
Right.
going to tell me I'm crazy. Take that MK Ultra and shove it,
Well,
right up your, what? Because here's the thing. It's too many of us. I don't understand how they can make a small amount of the population convinced that people who speak about conspiracies that are actual and things that are happening that are actually happening, ghosts and whatever you want to throw it, Loch Ness, whatever it may be. Okay, throw it all in there and paint the whole thing with a broad brush and say everybody's crazy because I don't understand it, and then act snooty about it. What you just told me is that you're closed-minded. You're not willing to even try to understand, maybe not capable, but we'll never know because you're not even trying. You're just slamming the door and it's all around you. It's you with the problem, not us. My tinfoil hat turned into a crown a long time ago. It's got big old gemstones in it, and it shines and it shines and it shines because I'm not the only one that knows these things. You know them too,
Right.
So does Bryan.
It's a different tactic now. What they do is if they want you to keep quiet, or if you're, there are certain individuals in the field that don't keep quiet because they get tired of they're always getting visited. They always have information, and the government wants the information. And so when they leave, they go into their house.
Suck it out of your head.
No, that they don't even suck it out of your head. They go and they ransack your home and they take things that they may monitor you. There's a gentleman named Stan Romanek who got arrested and convicted on pedophile related charges.
They just put stuff on your computer. Yeah, that was just, it's the same old same old. It's the Herbert Hoover treatment. What was he, head of a certain organization for 40-something years?
Ball busting imbeciles,
sitting behind his desk wearing a dress with his pantyhose and his garters and stuff, and blackmailing other people for their fetishes that they got caught on film.
Right.
This has just been it's so filthy, dirty, nasty. You know what I mean? It's beneath us as human beings. It's beneath us, for the love of all that's holy. It's got to stop, and light's going to beat it because it's ludicrous. It can't be allowed to continue on any level. It's just knock it all out of the park. Let's try it. Let's tap the brakes. Let's unplug her, plug her back in, and start over and try being decent human beings. If that means we got to live in little pockets like the Waltons, and raise the kids in love and understanding and explanation and not teach them weird math and tell them it's easier. That was a test. New math,
Right.
And the parents let people get away with that. And it was, oh, okay. Excuse me. I'd have ripped my kid out of there so quick. I did. So I put my kids, I guess, oh my God. Are you kidding me? You're not teaching my child that stuff. I'll take it from here,
Exactly.
But you have to be involved. You have to not allow them to tell you that you did not see what you saw. Of course, that's shit math. What are you kidding me? Of course, I'm not going to not teach my kid how to read cursive because I want him to read documents. What are you trying to do? What are you replacing this with? Wait a minute. You took out real history and you replaced it with what? Roll that tape back again for me. Because if you're allowing them to do that, I'd be sitting in the back of the classroom like that. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Go ahead. Call my parents, see if I care.
Go ahead. Teach, but keep reading that story.
Right.
I'll tell you what. You guarantee I'd be on the news that night.
Of course.
There's no way. I literally, I got stories, but we'll just let this gentleman
Trying
tell
to
his.
say to me that I didn't see what I saw.
What Norman Muscarello claims he saw was a brilliant UFO in a field next to his Exeter home. On September 3rd, 1965, Norman was walking home just after midnight.
I got right over to this stone over here, I'd say close to this stone wall. And this is when this thing appeared, and it was like it came out of nowhere. It was just zap. All of a sudden, there it was. Big as a house up over these trees.
And he observed this craft hovering over a home right next to where he was. The home was completely bathed in red light. The area was bathed in red light. There was no sound.
When Norman reported his encounter to the local police, he found out he was not alone.
There were other sightings that night that made it interesting. In fact, prior to Norman seeing the UFO, Officer Bertrand came upon a woman motorist that was parked the side of the road, and she described a similar object that had chased her.
In fact, there were a total of 6 reports filed with the Exeter police on the night of September 3rd, 1965. It was the number of credible eyewitnesses and the consistency among their descriptions that drew Raymond Fowler into the case. Fowler is one of America's preeminent UFO investigators. He has worked on many landmark cases, including the Allagash abduction. At the time of the Exeter sightings, Fowler was a member of NICAP, a National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena.
Our mission was to investigate UFO sightings, make them available to interested scientists who are studying the phenomena, and make this information public.
For the past 30 years, Fowler has followed through on Norman Muscarello's story. His investigation of the incident at Exeter is now considered one of the most extensively documented UFO sightings.
What made this case interesting to me was the fact that an object as large of as a barn was seen within 500 feet of witnesses.
As the early reports began to come into police headquarters, Officer Eugene Bertrand was called in from the field. After listening to Norman's story, they drove together to investigate the area.
He pulled his cruiser up on the other side of the road, and we proceeded in this direction, down this way. He had a large seal beam flashlight in his hand.
At that point, police officer David Hunt drove up and joined the foot search.
And they walked out into the field, and Norman yelled, "Look out, here it comes," and up over the treetops comes this object right at them with the red flashing lights.
And he come up over the tree line in this direction. Moved this way, that way, back and forth this way, and then moved in that direction and headed eastward.
When the UFO moved away, Norman and the 2 officers returned to the police station. At the same time, a local reporter was filing this story for the Exeter newspaper. And the police and the press weren't the only ones investigating the UFO sightings. Officials at nearby Pease Air Force Base became involved. First, they interviewed officers Bertrand and Hunt, and then Norman Muscarello, who claims he was told not to talk about what he had witnessed.
I have no question in my mind, they're covering up something.
I'm thoroughly convinced that the federal government, whether it be the Army, Air Force, Navy, was out actively researching, trying to figure out what was going on.
It is significant that the Exeter sightings were in very close proximity to the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard and Pease Air Force Base.
UFOs seem to have a keen interest in places where atomic weapons are either stored or atomic energy is being generated. This includes places like the Portsmouth Navy Shipyard, where you have atomic submarines. It includes places like Pease Air Force Base, where atomic weapons are stored.
Fowler believes that the Air Force launched a disinformation campaign, suggesting the Exeter UFO was a late-night advertising gimmick.
It was a classical case where you had reliable witnesses seeing an object that they couldn't identify at close range, and then having the Air Force, on the other hand, investigating, but then telling the public that there was nothing to it.
The incident at Exeter was the first in a series of UFO sightings which culminated a year later with mass sightings in Michigan. The public became increasingly dissatisfied with the military's official explanation, and a congressional hearing on UFOs was proposed by then Congressman Gerald Ford.
And he and other men and women in Congress felt that the Air Force was not handling the UFO problem properly, because they were getting so many complaints from the public concerning their explanations and so forth.
Fowler's exhaustive report on the UFO encounter at Exeter was put into the congressional record. During the hearings on April 5, 1966, the committee presented the findings in Fowler's report to Air Force officials and asked for an explanation.
I felt that this particular case was interesting and that it showed that the Air Force wasn't really telling the truth with the public. They discussed the report, and the Air Force backed down and admitted that the object was unidentified.
Norman Muscarello's sighting had far-reaching effects on future UFO investigations. But for him, the incident at Exeter remains deeply personal.
I wish to hell it had never happened. No, I really do. I wish I could have just waltzed through life without this happening. I'd like to just be a normal person and like everybody else.
The congressional investigation did elicit an admission from the Air Force that the Exeter craft was, in fact, unidentified. But ufologists are frustrated that the investigation went no further, and that no one inside the government since then has ever tried to identify exactly what was flying over Exeter that night.
Just a good tune. All right, so I think the thing that I take away from that, again, that sticks out to me, which is kind of the theme, is basically the government's telling us you didn't see that. Don't tell anybody. We know what we saw. I know what I saw. And again, I don't have a lot, I got to be honest, I don't have a lot of interaction that I know of with that kind of experience. That's the one I described as really it. I mean, I've seen some things, I've seen tons of video and had so many, heard of so many experiences. The ones that stick out to my mind, again, and all of these, no matter what they are, all have the same theme. People saw something, the powers that be lied about it, said it was a weather balloon, or it was swamp gas, or, insert your excuse here, trying to make us look like fools, beating us down and telling us you didn't see what you saw. And everything can't be a hoax. Everything can't be a lie. I mean, you could have a high percentage of the videos that we're seeing now, Bryan,
right,
and that are fake. But yet in there, there's some real stuff, and there's things people are seeing. And then we can break it apart and say it's some of it's us, which a lot of it is, and people we're in cahoots with, or things that we're in cahoots with. I thoroughly believe that. I believe these things have been walking. Have you seen the pyramids? Do you see what I'm saying? Have you seen how?
Yeah.
I mean, where are your questions? There's something going on, just like in every level of everything that's going on right now. Something's happening. Something's going on. So if they were going to hurt us, they may be hurting us and we're not aware of it. They could be in cahoots with, I don't know, a large manufacturer of, war weapons. They could be involved with, certain medicinal companies that, who knows how things are being manipulated, on what side with who's cahooting with who. It's like trying to sort a basket of yarn after, a litter of kittens been through it. So you sort it the way you want to sort it. The fact is the yarn exists. You see what I mean? And it's all intermingled and tangled, because if you think that certain species, if you want to say species, or types of aliens, they're cahooting together for whatever reasons. I believe that I'm starting to see now, that's one difference from then to now for me, is I've come comfortable with the idea that the grays are more like worker bees, that there's smarter things behind it.
The little grays are terrestrial biological entities, which are clones.
Yeah, like like a worker, worker, just they're there to do that task, and they're methodical, and they're just doing it. Yeah. It's just they're not in charge. They're not, they're not behind it. Just like what's going on here. The demons that you see up front and center are not the ones that are really in charge. There's a lot of more powerful, demonic minds, uh, you know, uh,
Demonic
must,
minds want to know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, the taller grays are I call them the ambassadors, and they're usually about higher than 6 feet
And you
tall.
got the bugs, you got the insect ones,
Mantis,
you
you've
got
got
the
the
tall, thin,
reptilians, you've got
the Palladians and the
it's
estrogens and
it's a whole
the
you have no idea.
testosteronins,
And
the nice ones and the bad ones and the reptilians and the
li-
shifty eyed.
it's a light being. It's just light.
Yeah.
And there's different colored aliens, and there's ones that do look like Chewbacca, and it just gets a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it
No.
is. All right, I think this is the alien footage. You have time to watch some alien footage. 10 minutes. Are you good, or you need to go? If you need to take a,
I'm good because
you know,
I'm fine. So
if you
put
need
the
to go grab a brownie or a beer or
I'm not,
something, it's
I
cool.
just have
I think this is it. But before we do so, I must make an announcement, and I hope you will include yourself, because again, if you can't make it one night, here's what we're going to do. Cabin 22 is our Halloween. This is so bizarre to me still. I can't believe people, but here we are. What are we? Is this Lindsay, is this the 4th anniversary of listening to the audio with the audio visual? I'm back in high school, rolling in a cart now with a TV on it. Of Cabin 22. Is this the 3rd or 4th year? One of the two, either way. We will be starting that Tuesday at 8:00 each. It'll be 6 consecutive nights, possibly 7. I think 6, and about 2 hours per. 8 p.m. Eastern each night. So starting October 22nd, Tuesday, we are going to begin Cabin 22. We're doing the prequel and the first, and I believe first and second chapter, if I'm not mistaken. I think so, right, Linz? It's got to be around 4. Well, either way, I'll look it up. And because we got to count the first year with Steve when it was originally written, and then brought it over here and we started doing it as a Halloween tradition. Either way, the fact that people want to hear this just makes my heart sing. So we need a little light in the world. So we're going to listen to a really really scary story with a lot of scary things, and but I think it's a good story. It has a good ending. It has a great journey. It takes you places. You meet some cool people. You might see yourself in one of these characters. But I guarantee you, this was again a dare from Steve. I bet you can't write a story that has just everything Halloween in it, and make it make sense. And I went, okay. And I sat down and I wrote Cabin 22, and it really did happen that way. And I think that spirits helped me because, listen, at one point in time, I looked across my dining room, and for a brief second in time, I saw Skeet in all his greasy glory laying across the secretary desk in my dining room, like he was laying on the cot, just it, helping me write the story. It was so weird. I didn't really tell, you know what I mean? I didn't make a big thing about it because I just thought that I could see him. And when I opened my eyes, it was almost, I'll tell you what it was like. Have you ever looked at a light bulb and you just stared at a light too much and you close your eyes and you see that light for a second? It was like that in reverse. It was so weird. But I think I had help writing that. So if you would like to listen to it with us, it's always fun that people have heard it before. They have special characters. They know what's coming. We don't do any spoiler alerts. We kind of guide people through, and listen to people meeting Tater for the first time, or Jeb or Ezra or Mrs. McGee. So we hope you'll join us. And if you can't make it every night, just go on to my channel right here, Journey Through the Gate, and there's a playlist there, and listen to the one in the car, listen to it at work with the headphones, whatever, cooking dinner. It's a quick hour and a half, whatever, you can get through it, and you'll be caught up, and you can join us the night you can join us. So we hope that you will make it your special part of Halloween, and you share it with your kids. I think it's age, the dog man gets a little down and dirty, but that's to be expected. You know, he's a dog man. So the Rougarou, you know, there's some evil. It's gonna, you know, look, there's soul vampires, soul collectors, moonshiners, ghosts, a murder mystery, villains, heroes, and more. So what's not to love, right? Right, Bryan? And there are things in this story that actually happened to people that I know who shall remain nameless, and you won't know what those are. So I'll give you the hint. If it's crazy and outrageous and really scary and just makes a hair stand up, it probably happened. So join us for our Halloween done Journey Through the Gate style. We hope you will be there. And if you are, to enhance your experience, I highly recommend one of these recipes. So get out your notebooks, get your screenshots ready, get this recipe, because you don't want to listen to Cabin 22 without this handy dandy Halloween treat. This is great. I love this stuff. So good. So good. Here it comes. I love this song too. It's so good. It's as good as it looks. I promise. Bacon caramel popcorn. Yep, that's right. For those of you that have had it and listening to Cabin 22 at the same time, it's a nice Halloween experience, you know? So invite your friends and your family. Make some of this. You can make popcorn balls for the kids, Bri. You can decorate the house with it, with a little spray paint and a trip to the Dollar Tree. You know what I mean? If you're having a party, kids love them. It's bacon, vegetable oil. Now, you can start it from scratch, or you can, you know, use microwave popcorn and add to it. Make it your own. But there's the recipe. You can screen shoot it, you know, record it, go back, watch the video. Look at it as a decoration. I think that's so cool. That's a can of spray paint and a trip to the Dollar Tree. That's what that is. I love doing stuff like that. It's a great snack. You make it vintage. See there? Vintage yummy. You know? So it's for any time, any, you know, it fits into your Halloween and it fills your belly with love because it's bacon. So if you want if you want to have a treat, you know, that's a nice suggestion. And what did I promise you? Oh, this one. Let's see. Let's see if this is it. This could be it, Bri. And then we're out. It's been a nice evening. We've said some good things. We've had a nice time. It's a good visit. Are you doing? I didn't hear you. Hold on. I can't hear you. You're muffled. What?
I want to show you something.
You want to do it now?
Yeah, before this, if you don't mind.
Throw it up here.
Yeah,
I didn't hear you. I didn't get your hand signals.
Well,
you were roboting out on your mic, man. It's crazy.
Everybody's getting a little bit tired, but I'm just going to do a quick one here, and I want to explain something to people. I'm sharing that I'm having a phone issue right now. So I don't know where. Yeah, the storage. It's all bullshit.
Is this picture down here?
Yeah, it's down there, and let me make sure that's there. Okay, so I took this video, and my girls were at Cortland Park in the Bronx, and I just did. I'm kind of. You're going to see a UFO I captured. I'm not going to do the full 5 minutes. I'm just not going to kill you with it. Okay. So there is some audio. And I catch this object that's up in the sky.
That one there?
There it is.
Wow. Holy shit.
And I'm looking at this thing.
That's solid as all get out right there.
But watch it for a little bit. Watch it. And I filmed this whole video.
Isn't a frisbee?
In 17 seconds. No, this is not a frisbee.
Is it a garbage can lid that's been caught in an updraft?
You are witnessing a UFO. Look at that.
Is it perhaps someone threw a silver platter out of a passing passenger plane?
No.
Could it be that? Could it be a weather balloon?
Did you just on the video right there? That UFO just changed its entire shape.
Look at that. That's
It went from
crazy.
a circle. It went into like
Look at
almost
that. Look at it did.
a bird of prey. It keeps
really
changing
odd
and
'cause
morphing its shape.
It looks like it's doing this.
It's like
right? And it keeps morphing, and this is just a little bit of a video for it, right? I'm hoping
Wow,
because
y'all see that? It's a weather balloon. They're all saying it's a weather balloon, Bowden.
it's not a weather balloon, and I'll explain why. We'll just stop it for a split second.
It's a garbage can lid that has been caught in an updraft. Look at the chemtrails. For the love of all that's holy,
Well, we had
look
a lot.
up, people. Look up.
We had a lot of them, so I'm gonna stop sharing that for a split second.
Test your water. Test your water.
This is available on the New York City UFO Project. It'll be available on my website.
That's
on
amazing.
my
I have no idea
YouTube,
what that is.
by the way. It's
Sometimes
Bryan Bowden, for YouTube. But let me stop that. But I want to show you something, footage of this. I want to share this one with you. Hold on one second. I've got two of them I want to share with you. And then you can get out of here and do your videos and make it nice with everybody. Okay.
you don't have to rush.
So-
I'm just showing off your T-shirt.
Oh,
This
thank
is a
you very
Bowden.
much.
This is a Bowden shirt.
Bowden designed, yes. So it's right
they
there.
wanted. Wu wants to know when you captured. Hold on.
That
Answer
was
Wu.
that was captured June 6th,
Up there.
12 p June 12th, 2019.
Yep. And then it said, "Wow."
Yeah, hold
Nice
on.
catch.
If you want to see, wow, I just
Looks
shared
like a
that
jellyfish.
I just shared the centerpiece with you. Okay. I caught up a section. You're gonna
Could be.
see it. Do you see it in the StreamYard? The share at the bottom?
Here we go.
Okay. I caught this. And when I do evidence, I review it, I go over it frame by frame. So there was something weird. I'm going to play it for you. Watch the craft. And you see that little blip that just happened?
Can you play it again?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. You're going to see it. Watch the craft. And then you're going to see like a blip, like a fly comes in between the cameras. So
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to slow it down again.
Yeah, I saw.
Okay, here we go,
Yeah.
slowing it down. It ain't a fly. It's
What
a
is
big mother. It's a mothership.
Okay,
You can
just a
see it.
flash of it. Mhm.
Yep. Watch what happens. It's bigger
Oh.
now. So I can cut to that's what comes in. Look at the back
Wow.
of that craft and look at the bay area in the back, the engine area there.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. And it
angle.
just like absorbs it.
A split second.
Wow.
You saw it. It was, fractions
Yeah,
of a
yeah.
second. That thing came in. Fractions of a second.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna be a pain in the ass. I'm gonna
One
share
of our listeners, I don't want to say who without permission to divulge, but sent me a video that they captured, and I couldn't tell whether they were in a car and captured across a field,
Right.
or something similar. But you could actually see this black mass move, almost look like a figure of a large man, but
right.
Totally black mass. It was just more of a less a figure. If you slowed it down, which I did, you could see that it popped in out of nowhere. Right, I swear to straight cut like a rip in the sky with a sharp knife, and this thing just came in and bat out of hell took off. And you could, if you slowed it down, you could see the face push forward. Like every once in a while, you could see the distinction of the figure that this was, and then it just disappeared, like went off into a mist. But you could tell that it was a definite entrance through a rip, a portal. He caught it.
Cisco, this
Crazy.
happens so many times.
But they do it too. The
Unbelievable.
UFOs, they go in and out. They flash in and out. They just, everything is so split second. And when you slow the stuff down into the frames, you can really, get the whole, the whole picture.
Yeah.
All right, let me see if this is the, because we can't end this without the alien the alien autopsy.
Just give me one.
Oh, you got another one? Show it up here.
Got one more here. So
go ahead.
I'm trying to share this to you right now. I'm trying to share this screen. Where the heck are we? Where'd you go?
Take your time. Take your time.
Here it is. I'm sharing this, and this is going to be really, really quick. I'm just gonna
go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So when it comes up, it's there. It's down in the middle. And just throw it up. This happened with me and my 12-year-old daughter.
Love this.
This is we're coming out. We're buying some stuff at the supermarket down in Florida, and this is what we witnessed. So you'd have to. It's right next to me down at the bottom of the screen. Initiate that, and then I'll show you another one. And I'm not going to do the whole thing. You're going to see me go nuts because I'm checking this out. But here I'm going to run this right now. Look at that. It's hard. Bad camera. The iPhone.
I don't know what the heck that is.
So there are craft. It's coming. There are these bright red lights in dot and then two ends, like a triangle. Okay.
Oh wow. It's big. It's big.
I'm watching. It's a fleet of UFOs traveling from the south, going north.
Okay.
And the way it happened was, I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at this red light, these three red lights, dot, 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 like a pyramid. And I'm like, is that a drone? And then the rightmost one divides himself into two. It's another craft. And my daughter's like, what's wrong, Dad? I'm like, film out the window.
Film out the window. That's great. That's a great catch.
Case after it, okay? This was on December 10th, 2023, about 7:00 in the morning, in the evening, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna play you one more thing. So the same little pain in my the same dependent has four of her friends sleep over that night on the 29th of December. She's having a girl sleepover. So I'm in my back area. I'm like, I'm not hanging out with 5 12-year-olds. I will probably kill everybody. I already have 3 women in my life to begin with. I don't need any more.
Yeah.
10:30 at night. I'm sitting out there, smoke some cigarettes, play with the phone, looking at some stuff. And I said, I got to go inside to get a drink. So I just shared it with you. It's right there. And this is what takes place. There's a little cursor. You ready? This flew right over my home. Ain't that fucking unusual right now?
Wow.
That is. It's flying right over my home.
That is odd.
It's heading from the west over to me.
They're pulling information off your phone, Bowden. Look at that.
Another one.
I just ran out of space. So now I'm going to call my daughter.
Jordan, come here.
Listen to her reaction.
No, UFO.
It's back. It's back. The thing we saw.
Close the door. Whoever's out.
It's back.
It's back.
Wow.
Oh Lord, that's great.
What is it?
That's a UFO.
It's back. The thing we saw.
Yeah.
So
That's a UFO. Yes.
this flies literally really close over the house. I'm filming this for a couple of minutes.
Wow.
Then it
Look at
travels
this,
south,
folks.
and at one point it goes boop, and it just disappears off the map. So
Yes, it is.
now I had to kind of play it down a little bit because one of her friends started really freaking out.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. There's a bunch of little girls, right? But she said it's back. It's the thing we saw.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. So it's been there before. You guys aren't missing time, are you?
This was
it's heading
December
south
10th of 23, and then December 29th of 23.
He's fading out.
Yep, there goes.
Something was going on. We don't have missing time on this incident right
gone.
here. But for it to
gone.
come back and then it ends and it's over and she walked out of my life.
That's
no,
amazing, man. That's
we don't have
amazing.
missing
So have
time.
you seen it before? Now what can you do? Can you put something like camera on your house? Like could you just can't you
Never-
do like a do they have trail sky cams? Like, you know,
We do have
it's like
sky
a trail
cams.
cam, you put it on your house and just record above your 24/7. See if you catch
bionic
anything.
camera that under the moonlight, almost a total darkness. You just don't have it all the time. This stupid phone just filled up with all the storage space, which it's been giving me a headache, and it would be nice to get another one, but I don't have the money for that one, so I have to go delete stuff. But the point is,
God, people don't realize how much pictures and videos and stuff that we have on our phones. You have no idea. I have to go ahead and empty out my trash and start over again because it's something, because you want the research and everything else. It's just you want to bring visuals and all this other stuff, and Brian's always catching. These have been great, man. We got to get out of here because I'm like way over time, but everything was worth it. No, I love the way it went. I love the way it went, and I love the comparison. We got to see a little bit of the older stuff. I think we've come further maybe in this than maybe in the paranormal. Can't really describe why I feel that way, but I feel like maybe it's because the craft is so distinguishable in its the tech has been upped, because if you look back in the 50s, it looked like two pie pans stapled together as somebody slung in the air, like a frisbee, and they shot it. We've definitely come a long way, baby. You know what I'm saying? But if you listen to the stories and the witness statements and the way they're treated and the way they're, defamed and called liars and conspiracy theorists, that hasn't changed at all, And the Men in Black we don't hear as much about them like we did when they first came out, but I think it's still happening. It's just in different manners. So
in different manners, it's happening.
We really haven't changed.
Yeah. So
the witness and the experience and the treatment has all remained the same. Your Travis Waltons. I mean, if that happened today, they would still put those boys through a lot of stuff. It's call them murderers. The town would still shun them. They'd talk behind your back. All the things would be the same. And then he jumped back, and they call in a man called Mr. Dr. Sprinkles or whatever his name was to take over. And Travis didn't even know what the heck happened to him. I mean, it's just, again, we got to learn to treat each other better. Right. You want to take us out? Go ahead. What?
No, we're good. I don't have I have one podcast. I'm trying to get it up. So.
Oh, you're trying to get up your podcast because your phone is going down. I can pull it up. You need me to pull something up?
No. I'm trying to change the delivery method and start the podcast. So good
night, Scott. Thank you.
I appreciate everybody that's been here. Had a couple other
Lindsay, we love you, baby. Lots of bacon back at you. So good to see you tonight. Glad you popped in. It's been wonderful having you. Everybody here. Boo's watching for your podcast. It's coming. He just said it's coming.
I'm trying, man. I'm really trying at this point.
I think Anna is asking a question. And your wife?
That was my daughter in the last video. My youngest, who's 12, going to be 13. We saw the fleet of UFOs, first one, and she was very smart about it because maybe they went through a window, which means a portal. And when we chased them, they disappeared. When they came back, it was her and her four friends, four other friends, 12-year-old kids, and my wife was in the house being, you deal with it, not me.
Yeah. I mean, again, when these things happen to us, it's almost like you think, well, you were prepared, you were on an investigation, or you were this, and you had everything already in your mindset and everything. No, that's not how it goes. It's just like you're minding your own business, going about your day, and all of a sudden, wham, something happens. And it's still a surprise. It's still, I'm still going to jump scare, I mean, ask anybody I live with. They come around the corner and they sneak up on me. You're going to get it. And the thing is I'll look at them, like that back, because you have to expel that energy. It's like I'm doing that so I don't punch them. It's just a reaction, and you have to, it is all about energy. I know that sounds like a weird way to describe it, but if you have abilities and you're not using those, we know that can turn into PK and all this other stuff. These things are using energy. They're using energy to come in and out of our dimension, in and out of our skies. They're manipulating us through telepathy. They're taking us apparently and examining us and releasing us like dolphins getting tagged in the ocean. I mean, the whole thing is just crazy. But the main thing to remember is they're telling you it's not happening. They're lying to you still, yet still about this too. And it's up to you to go, I know what I saw, and you're not going to change my mind. I'm up to here with, we're all full up on lies, and being called liars and crazy people and all this other stuff. I've seen crazy. I've seen what they're telling me is normal and what is wonderful and joyful. And honey, I know crazy when I see it. So you're not going to use that reverse psychology on me. I'm not complying to that. I will not participate. So I know what's right. I know what's wrong. And I know what I saw. You know what you saw, Bri. We'd love to see you on your podcast. We'd love to see you all here for Cabin 22. And again, that starts Tuesday. Tomorrow night, what do we have? We have Mr. Steve Stockton. He will be here with me, and we are welcoming the wonderful Michael Laciano. Mike's coming. So Michael Laciano will be here, and we are going to talk about the mysterious murder and possible innocent man may or may not have been hung in 1868. I believe I have that date correctly, and it is the murder mystery and trial and life of Tom Dooley. So you remember the song, Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow night. Should be fun for Halloween. Enjoy your time. And again, if you're having some kind of plans or party, or you're looking for a distraction, it's a great family gathering to sit down and listen to a story that it takes you into the characters. I think it has a good moral storyline as well. And it absolutely includes all the paranormal, supernatural things. And I think you'll find out it's extremely timely, because I think people are being gathered. They're being gathered into their new tribe, their new families. And I think, there's a lot of light coming in too when that happens. So there you go. I'm going to take us out of here. Good night, Bri. I love you.
All right. Love you too.
Thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it, man. We had a good time. Yeah. All right, here we go. Out we go. We are going to what? We're going to take off our shoes. We're going to touch grass, and we're going to dance the blues away. Good night, everybody. I love you. Good night, sweetheart.